Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem, welcome back to today's Daf Yomi, which is Maseches Taanis Daf Tesvav. We begin a new perek, 11 lines from the top of the Amid. Actually, today's Daf is pretty unique in the sense that it contains mostly Mishnayos. So actually, they took all the Mishnayos of this perek, combined them together as one long and continuous description of what happens during the fast days. And that's most of today's Daf. And we conclude with a small piece of Gemara. Okay, says the Mishnah, Seder Taanis Ketzad. How exactly did a Yom Taanis look like? The Gemara will explain that we're speaking about the last 7 fast days. You may recall we discussed 3 phases of fast days, which they would establish in a time of tzara, for instance, a time of drought. You had a set of 3 fast days, followed by another set of 3, and concluded with another set of 7. Now each phase of fast days, as you proceed, it would be more severe, progressively more severe than the previous set of fast days. And now we're describing the last and final phase of 7 fast days. Seder Taanis Ketzad. How did they go about it? They would transport the teva, the Aron HaKodesh, from the shul into the city square. The Gemara says it was derech bezoyin, to show Hashem, look, we're going to be mavaza ourselves. We're going to embarrass ourselves and the Aron HaKodesh, bring it out into the city, befarhas, in full public view, to somehow procure a tshuva, mechila, kapara from you. V'noisten efer mikla. They would take efer mikla, which is burnt ashes, as opposed to just plain efer, which sometimes can be referring to just plain earth or sand, as Rashi explained. So efer mikla is lashon burnt, koloi ba'esh. So ashes from a burnt item, they would take some of that and place it al gabi ateva, on top of the Aron Kodesh. The Gemara speaks about the fact that it represents the Mesiras Nefesh Akedas Yitzchak, where he was makriv. Avram Avinu was makriv, an aisle instead of Yitzchak. So they placed that on the teva, uberoish hanasi, on the head of the nasi, uberoish abbezin, the head of the abbezin. V'chol echad ve'echad, and every individual in the tzibur then takes a bit of that efer, and his noisin beroisha places it on his personal head. Hazokin shebehen, the elder amongst them, the leader, oimer lifnein divrei kevushin. He would present them with words of teichacha, which soften the heart, which bring them to do teshuvah. The Bach has a pshat. Kivushin is a lashon of kavshei derachmana, the hidden things, the secrets. He reveals to them what they have to be masakin, and that brings them to tshuva. And he says as follows: Achena, look, my brothers, lo nemar ba'anshe Ninveh. Pay attention to the words of the Navi by the people of Ninveh, who had a decree of destruction imposed on them, and they did tshuva. What does it say? How does the pasuk describe it? Lo nemar ba'anshe Ninveh. It doesn't say vayara lekim sakam v'stanis. Hashem took a look. He took notice of their sack, of their fasting, externals. No, that's not what it says. Ela vayara lekim es ma'asem. Hashem noticed their actions, their deeds. Kishavu midar kamara. They changed their lifestyle. Internal change. That's what makes a difference. Ubekabalahu oimer. Likewise, the Navi, when he instructs Klal Yisrael, it says, "V'kiru levavchem," tear your hearts, "V'al bigdeichem," rather than your clothing. So, pneumius, essence, lifestyle, that has to be addressed. Interesting that the Mishnah switches references. It turns from just a pasuk to B'Kabbalah. Why is it that the second pasuk is called B'Kabbalah? Says Rashi. Interesting pshat, about 3-4 lines up. B'Kabbalah shal Navi metzavel Yisrael. The Navi is instructing Yisrael, take care to change your heart rather than your clothing. There's a kasha in Tosis. Why is it that when the Mishnah brings the pasuk of Yoina, it just brings the pasuk tichsev, right? It doesn't say v'loy karli divrei Kabbalah. The Mishnah doesn't refer to it as Kabbalah. U'b'haikro, as opposed to this pasuk, the v'kiru levavchem, How does the Mishnah refer to it? Karle Kabbalah. Why is that? Uparik iu, and the Taanis explains, Kol makim shalavi metzav u'meidia u'mazer Yisrael. Whenever the Navi is instructing, informing, directing Klal Yisrael for future, Karle Kabbalah, that's called Kabbalah. Instruction. For long term. U'b'chol duchtad lo yispakid Navi. As opposed to where it's not a mitzvah, it's not instructions. It's just relating a story, ki haida vayara lekim. It's just misaper v'hoilach. It's just describing a story. The yolaf minei agav urche milsa lekarinu lekabbalah. The pasuk by Yoina is just describing an event. We happen to learn a lesson from there. That's just a pasuk. But when the pasuk says v'kir levavchem, here's the Navi instructing, informing, directing. That's called divrei Kabbalah. Interesting pshat of Taanis. Continues the Mishnah. Okay, so once they have the Musar Shmuz, now they're ready to daven. Amdu b'tefillah, so they get ready to daven. Who's going to be the Shliach Tzibur? Moiridin lifnei ateva, so the Shliach Tzibur davens in front of the Aron Kodesh. He's going to be a Zakin, older man, v'ragel, fluent in tefillah, so he doesn't err on his words. V'yesh lebanim, he has children. His heart's soft and full of empathy. Ubeisei rekel, his house is empty. Pashat Pshat, it means he has no food. The Gemara explains his reputation is clean. And all this is needed kadesh yehi libo yishalim b'tefillah, that he's totally devoted to his tefillah. V'omer lefneim, and he presents before them esrim va'arba brachos. Instead of an 18 bracha shmoyne esrei, he expands it to 24. How's that? Yud ches shebachol yom, your standard 18 brachos in shmoyne esrei. We have actually 19 if malshinim. So the standard shmoyne esrei. What does he add? Umois valein oishesh. He adds another 6. Veiluhein. How do we have 6? One is zichroines, and one is v'shofros. Rashi says all the psukim and the brachos that we say during Rosh Hashanah. So the brachos and the psukim and bracha of zichronis, the psukim and bracha of shofros, that's 1 and 2. And the rest of the 6 is a compilation of psukim from Tehillim with a chasima as well, with a proper conclusion and finish of that bracha. So it's El Hashem Batzal Rasali Karasi Vayanenu. That's a kapitel in Tehillim. That's number 3. The 4th bracha will have the psukim of Esa Eina Elaharim. Number 5 will have Mimamakim Kursich Hashem. The final 6th bracha will have Filul Aniki Yativ. And soon the Gemara will tell us, the Mishnah will tell us, how he would conclude those brachas. There's a special nusach for every bracha which reflects the content of that bracha. Rabbi Yehuda disagrees. Rabbi Yehuda Omer lo yahya tzarach leima zechroines v'shofars. He would skip zechroines v'shofars. That's unique to Rosh Hashanah, to Yom Kippur of Yovel, not on a fast day. Lo Omer tachtein. Rather, instead, he would substitute it with the following 2 psukim. The parsha discussing Ra'av Kiyeh Ba'aretz Dever Kiyeh, which is in Malachim Aleph, and Asher Hoya Dvar Hashem al Yirmiyo al Divrei Batzoros, that's in Yirmiyo Yudalet. Okay, so in any case, we have a total of 6 extra brachos. Of course, each bracha needs a fitting conclusion. How is that? Ala Rishona. How would he conclude the first bracha? Now, we have to point this out. Rashi points this out. When we say the first, we mean not the first of the 6 extra ones. What happened was that he would expand the bracha of Goyel Yisrael as well. The Gula, salvation of Yisrael, it's a very fitting bracha to expand during a time of tzara. So that's the Ala Rishona that we're referring to here. So Goyel Yisrael, which was not one of the 6 extra brachas, that also gets a lengthy chasima. You expand it and conclude with a fitting conclusion as follows. Ala Rishona hu Eimer, Goyel Yisrael, who was the first one who was saved by Hashem, Avram Avinu, from the Kivshan Eish, as Taanis explains. So you conclude by saying, Misha'anas Avram Bahara Maria. Hashem, who responded to Avram Avinu Bahara Maria. The Farshim explain, Hashem responded to him by promising him children and bracha. This happened on Harabayis. Hu Yana Eschem, he too will respond to you today. V'yishma b'kol tza'akaschem ha'yimazeh, listen to your calling out to him, your tefillahs. Baruch Hashem Goyel Yisrael. Now we're ready for the 6 additional brachas. Ala Shniya, the second, which is really the first of the 6 extra. That was zichroinos, according to Tanakama. Al Hashniya hu Omer, how would he conclude the topic of zichroinos? The fact that Hashem remembers things that are forgotten. Hashem evokes his schus, which is embedded in the true essence, the core of a yid. Hashem who responded to our forefathers at the Yamsuf, after it appeared, so to speak, Rashi explains, it appeared that they were forgotten throughout all those years in Mitzrayim. So there was a zikaron taking place. Likewise, Huyane Eschem, he will respond to you. V'yishma kol tzakaschem, listen to your tzaka, hayoim hazeh baruch Hashem, zoicher hanishkachis. Hashem remembers the forgotten things. Allah Shlishis, the third, which is Sheifaros. So after he brings the psukim of Sheifaros, he concludes with something which reflects the topic, the concept of Sheifaros, which brings about tshuva on a person and schus by Hashem. Hu oimer misha'anas Yeshua ba Gilgal. Hashem who responded to Yeshua when Klal Yisrael were in Gilgal and Yeshua was surrounding Yericho and blowing those Sheifaros, and he was responded to in a miraculous way. Hashem will respond to you as well. Hu yana eschem v'yishma b'kol tzakaschem hayom hazeh baruch Hashem shemea teruah. This was the chasima of Sheifaros. Allah revies. What about the fourth bracha, which is going to be the bracha that contains the Perek Tehillim about Hashem batzarosali karasi vayaneni? What is the fitting conclusion? Allah reveals to Omer, Misha'anes Shmuel b'mitzpah. Hashem responded to Shmuel by the mitzpah when Shmuel called out to Hashem. Hu yana eschem. Likewise, he will respond to V'yishma b'kol tzakaschem, and listen to your tzaka. Hayom hazeh baruch Hashem shemea tzaka. Just as he listened to Shmuel's tzaka, he will respond to you as well. Al chamishis Omer, regarding the fifth bracha, which is centered around the topic of the Perek in Tehillim, Esa Einai Elaharim, who was responded to on the mountain, Eliyahu Hanavi on Har HaKarmel, when he was battling the Nevi Habal de Avodah Zarah. Al chamishis Omer, Misha Anas Eliyahu Har HaKarmel. Hashem responded to Eliyahu when he was davening to you on Har HaKarmel. Esa Einai Elaharim, Hu Yana Eschem. Likewise, he will respond to you. V'yishma b'kol tzakaschem hayom hazeh baruch Hashem shemea tefillah. Allah shishis hu Omer on the sixth bracha, which is the fifth of the additional brachas, which is centered around which Perek in Tehillim? Mimamakim karasicha Hashem, who was saved from the Mimamakim, Yoina, when he was in the inners of the fish. Misha Anas Yoina b'mei adaga. The same Hashem who was Oine, who responded to Yoina when he was in the inners of the fish. Mimamakim hu yana eschem. He will respond to you. V'yishma b'kol tzakaschem hayom hazeh baruch Hashem ha'oine be'isar. And finally, al hashvius, on the last and final bracha of these extra brachas, which centered around tefillah la'oni ki yativ, a poor, destitute person in a time of tzara. And this represents David and Shlomo. Rashi brings, they both experienced raw, famine, and tzara. So Hashem who responded to them will respond to you. Al hashvius Omer Misha Anas David Shlomo b'nai b'Yerushalayim, when they daven to you from Yerushalayim, Hu yana eschem, he will respond to you. V'yishma b'kol tzakaschem hayom hazeh, and internalize your tzaka, appreciate your tefillah, and respond to you. Baruch Hashem hamarachim, the one who has compassion al ha'aretz, on Eretz Yisrael, which was the subject of their tefillah, of David HaMelech and Shlomo HaMelech's tefillah. Perhaps let's go over a bit of Rashi here. So you'll notice the lines of Rashi widening. So perhaps let's start from the line right above the wide lines. V'omer choismein. So Rashi will eloquently explain for us how each chasima parallels the content of that respective bracha. V'omer choismein, I'll call parsha parsha. So he does a chasima for every parsha. Achas zichronis, chasima zichronis. V'achas sheifaros, chasima sheifaros. V'chein achar kulam, me'ein ha-parsha. Every chasima reflects the nature of the parsha, of the Perek Tehillim, the content of that bracha. Ala Rishona, the first chasima, and Rashi takes pain to explain for us that it doesn't mean the first of the six. It means before you start the six. B'pam Rishona, that he extends a bracha, which is actually going to be Goyel Yisrael, who Omer Rishona L'Avram, B'Goyel Yisrael hayamarach laharach, hayamasach laharach, v'hoylach, v'omer l'kulan sheish brachas. And then he goes to the 6 brachas. Alashnia, which is actually Zui bracha Rishona Shal Sheish brachas, the first of the extra 6. Kidamrina b'Gemara. V'hayich Gol Yisrael Zui bracha b'fnei atzma sheshmene esrei. Gol Yisrael, which was just described, is not one of the extra 6. It's one of the standard 18 of Shemene Esrei. V'eni moisen sheish. Elo shabo yemaschel lo yisiv la'arach. Gol Yisrael is a very fitting topic for a time of tzara, and that's why he expanded a bit there as well. Not to say that it counts as one of the 6. Allah Zechronis so Eimer Zeichanish Gachis. Allah Shefaris Shemeatrua. V'yishnia Lamenyana. Shefaris is the second of the 6 extra. V'alash Elashem Batzarosali V'shlishis Leminashei Shemeatzaka V'chenku. Misha Anas Avesin Al Yamsef. What is the connection between that and Zechronis? Levichach Eimer B'Zechronis. It's very fitting. It's very appropriate. V'shahi Yisrael Nishkachim Mitzrayim Kamashanim. It appeared that Yisrael were forgotten in Mitzrayim for many long years. V'nishyashim Agula. They gave up. Almost. On Geula. V'zachram ha'makim v'gol Hashem turned around, remember them, so to speak, and brought them out. T'chsiv ve'eskros prisi. Mishay faras ha'yoymer. Mishana es Yeshua ba'Gilgal. What's the connection between Yeshua, Gilgal, and Shefaris? The Vishanene b'Shefaris b'Yerichai. When he surrounded Yerichai, the Shefaris brought the walls down. V'zeu ba'oid shehayu Yisrael b'Gilgal. That was when Yisrael were residing in Gilgal. So when we say Anas Yeshua ba'Gilgal, we don't mean he blew the shofar in Gilgal. Yisrael at that point were in Gilgal, but the Shefaris event took place around Yerichai. Now regarding the bracha of Esa Eina Laharim, we go over to Yol Barak Carmel. Ki neged Esa Eina Laharim. V'chein Kulam likewise. All the Chasimis reflect the Mizmorim. Lefi Inyan HaMizmorim. El Yo Nena Barak Carmel. Me'ein Esa Eina Laharim. Ushmo Ba-Mitzpah. He was responding to at the Mitzpah. L'chsiv V'kroyim Ein Hashem Atzarosli. That's a time of Tzara. That corresponds to the capital of Batzorosali. Yaina, he was responding to Mimei Adaga, and that corresponds to Mamakim. Mimei Adaga, Mimei Mamakim Chazich Hashem, V'oine Beis Tzara. I conclude the words Oine Beis Tzara. Where do we see that by Yaina? Shken Ksiv B'Yaina, Karasi Mitzorali. Ubishmo Ksiv Vayizak Al Hashem, Ubal Ksiv Anei Nizu Tfilah. Valashvius, Gemara Farish my Shvius. Misha Ana David Vahi Rav Me. David, there was a hunger during David's time. Shalishanim Shanachashana. Ushleima, when did he daven? Ksheichan Sa'aron Beis Kachakadosh. He had a hard time bringing the Aron to the Beis Hamikdash. Inami another Pshat Rav Ki Ba'aretz. There was a hunger. Ulficha Chaysim Meracham Al Aretz. Why do we conclude Meracham Al Aretz when it comes to David and Shleima? Because that's what they davened about. Shem Espalo Al Eretz Yisrael. Now, why is this a conclusion for Tefillah L'Ane Kiyatev? What was that the content of this bracha? Tefillah L'Ane Kiyatev al doicha geshamim neufel uksibi be'otzer shamayim. Ane, destitute, lacking rain, and that occurred during their days. Okay, let's go back to the Mishnah. The last word of the Amid. Mas, there was actually a story that took place in the days of Rabbi Chalafta. He lived in Tzipori. Rabbi Hanani ben Tradian, who lived in Sichri. She'avar echad of Neateva. There was a Shliach Tzibur who started davening. V'gomar es bracha kula. Now he did 2 things which were unique, which were different than standard. Number 1, v'gomar es bracha kula. When he concluded the bracha of, let's say, Goyal Yisrael or whatever, they didn't respond with Amen. Rather, the Tzibur responded with Baruch Shem Kvoid Malchus Elam Vod, which is generally reserved for the Beis Hamikdash. And then the Chazan, not the Shliach Tzibur, the Chazan, the Gabbai, the attendant, gets up and he calls out, Tiku Kehanim, blow the shofar, V'taku, and they comply, they blow the shofar. And then he said again, Mish Anas Avram Avinu V'Aram Maria, meaning after the Shliach Tzibur already concluded Gol Yisrael and inserted Misha Anas Avram Avinu V'Aram Maria, right, and said Baruch Hashem Gol Yisrael, then the Chazan, the Shamas, the attendant gets up, calls out to the Kehanim to blow, and repeats again. He summarizes. Misha Anas Avram Avinu V'Aram Maria. Hashem will respond to Avram Avinu. Hu Yane Eschem V'Yishma B'Kol Tzakaschem Imazeh. So he made two differences. Number 1, it was Baruch Shem Kvod Malchusai responded to the shots instead of Amen. Number 2, that the Chazan, the Shamas, after calling out to the Kehanim to blow, he summarized once again the topic at hand, Mishan. Okay? Now the next bracha, again the same story. The Shliach Tzibur finished his bracha. They responded Baruch Shem, and the Chazan gets up, Hariu b'nei Aaron Hariu. Kehanim, go ahead and blow the shofar. Hariyu means first Teruah, then Tekiah, then Teruah. This was different than the previous instruction, Tiku, which was Tekiah, Teruah, Tekiah. So first go ahead, blow, and then he says, Misha Ana. Again, he repeated what the Shliach Tzibur already said, Misha Ana Sabasino al Yamsuf. Huyane Eschem Vishma B'kol Tzakaschem Yemazeh. So there are two differences performed here. When the Chacham heard about this new minhag, number one, that the Tzibur responded with Baruch Shem rather than Amen. Number two, that the Chazan will make this extra announcement of Misha Ana after the Shliach Tzibur already said it. Amru, they said, no, Lo Yahinu Noyag and Cain, Ela B'Shara Mizruch Barabais. This type of minhag was only applied in the Beis HaMikdash, in the Harabais, that to which they would, Rashi says, they would be nichnas to the Harabais through the Shar Mizrach. Anyways, they were uniquely Beis HaMikdash related. Otherwise, you don't apply these minhagim. Which minhagim? Baruch Shem Kvod Nachusai, and also repeating the refrain again. Continues the Gemara. We know that there were groups of Kayhanim who would serve in the Mikdash. One group per week. They were called the Mishmar. They were on duty that week. During the Mishmar, during the week, there were groups of Kayhanim. There were subgroups called Batei Avos. Each day was a different Beis Av, a different family, so to speak, who would be Ovid on that day, Sunday and Monday. Each day had a different Beis Av. The Moshe will discuss for us what's the halacha regarding fasting. These Kayhanim had to be on duty, had to be available to do the avodah the Mikdash. They had to conserve their energy. They couldn't necessarily fast. So what did they do? Shalosh Taanis Harishonos. Now the first three Taanis, which weren't so severe, we require fasting. Almost. Anshe Mishmar. So the Kehanim who were engaged in the Mishmar, they were the part of that weekly group, but not serving on this particular day. Mis'anan v'lo mashlina. They have to fast, but they don't complete their fast. As opposed to the Kayhanim serving on this particular day, they wouldn't fast at all. Why this difference between the Mishmar and the Beis Av? Says Rashi, around 8 lines up from our position in the Mishnah. Anshe Mishmar shel Oser Shabbos, the one serving that week, they would fast but not complete the fast. We apply a kula here because the first set of fast days aren't so chamor. But why at all? Why would they get a discount at all? Says Rashi, because they were still on call, even though they weren't officially serving today, but they were on call in case they would need it for a backup. But Gemara explains, you know what? The Anshe Beis Av might be overwhelmed. Too many karbanos today. Al Anshe Beis Av show oidin oisayim uboyim him l'sayim, and the other Kohanim serving throughout that week were reserve Kohanim and might be called on as a backup. Now, if they were engaged in fasting, and completely fasting, perhaps they wouldn't have the energy to support today's group. Now you may ask, well, what good is it that they have some supper? They don't finish their fast, but they're fasting all day, and chances are they're called in throughout the day to help out. The Basema says, pas b'sala, when you're expecting a supper soon, psychologically, mentally, it helps you deal with the fast. So that will give them extra energy and allow them to help out. So this is the Anshe Mishmar, who weren't really on call that day, but they were on reserve duty. As opposed to the Anshe Beis Av, says Rashi, Mishmar Meschalekas l'shiva batei avos. Every Mishmar split into 7 groups. Keneged shivas mea shavua Beis Av l'yoyim. So the daily contingent, that daily group, the Anshe Beis Av, wouldn't fast at all because they were certainly engaged in avodah. Continues the Mishnah. Shalish Nias. Now, as we proceed along the phases of fast days, we have progressive astringency. We have added chumras as the situation would increase in severity. The Taanis will more chamar as well and are treated accordingly. Therefore, Shalish Nias, the next set of fast days, Anshe Mishmar Mis'anan Mashlimin. The Mishmar fellows would have to fast fully, no discounts. V'Anshe Beis Av Mis'anan v'lo mashlimin. The group serving on that day would fast without hashlam. And Sheva Achronis, the last and final phase of fast days, we were more machmer elu mis'anan mashlimin. Nobody gets a break. Everybody has to fast equally. Divrei Rabbi Yeshua. V'chacham oimrim, they take it a notch down, a step down. Sholosh Taanis harishonos, the first 3 fast days, Elu ve'elu lo hayu mis'anin klal. The Mishmar and the Beis Av wouldn't fast at all. Sholosh shneos, the next group of fast days, we ratchet up, we take it up a notch. Anshe Mishmar mis'anin v'lo mashliman. The Mishmar is to fast and not complete. V'anshe Beis Av lo hayu mis'anin klal. That day's group wouldn't fast at all. Shavach is the last phase of fast days. Anshe Mishmar mis'anin mashliman. The Mishmar would fast completely. Anshe Beis Av mis'anin v'lo mashliman. The Beis Av would fast, not complete the fast day. So in a nutshell, we have the 3 groups of fast days, and as we proceed, we go up in Chumrah, and theoretically, we compare the Mishmar to the Beis Av. The Mishmar is 1 step more Chumrah than the Beis Av, because they're not really serving today. And then we have the Chachamim, who drop one down, compared to Rabbi Yeshua. So that's in a nutshell. Now, what about drinking wine? We know that a kohen may not drink wine when he's engaged in avodah. What about the Anshe Mishmar? What about the Anshe Beis Av? Anshe Mishmar mutar lishtos yain b'leilos. The Anshe Mishmar, who are on duty that week, but not today, they can drink wine at night. But not during the day, because the Beis Av people might be overwhelmed. They might call on them for support. Chances are that might happen throughout the day when they're overwhelmed with karbanos. So throughout the day, they have to be at the ready, as opposed to during nights, where there's not much going on. Some remnants of karbanos, which the Anshe Beis Av can certainly handle on their own, and therefore the Anshe Mishmar are free to drink wine. As opposed to the Anshe Beis Av, those Kohanim serving today, they have to refrain from wine during daytime and nighttime, because they have to continue and complete their avodah throughout the night. Anshe Mishmar, the Anshe Mamad, all the people serving this week, and the Anshe Mamad, Rashi explains, that was a group of Kehanim, Levim, and Yisraelim, who was sent from throughout Klal Yisrael to come stand in the Beis HaMikdash and represent Yisrael when they will bring the Karbanos Tzibur. A person has to be there when his carbon is brought. So they are the representatives of Klal Yisrael, Anshe Mamad. So all these individuals who are engaged in Avodah, present in the Beis HaMikdash, they have to come present themselves respectfully when they enter, when they arrive. And therefore, Asurim L'Sapel Machabes, they may not take a haircut or wash their clothing throughout that week. This will ensure that they prepare themselves in advance before they arrive. However, B'Chamishim return on Thursdays we allow haircuts and perhaps washing as well. We may cover the Shabbos in honor of Shabbos. Continues the Mishnah, Kol HaKosav v'Megillas Taanis. All those days, all those occasions listed in Megillas Taanis, which were established to mark various Nisim, in which case we have restrictions imposed on those days that have to be celebrated, no fasting. In some cases, we have to refrain from even doing a hesped, a eulogy on those days. So it all depends how chashav, how important that day is. If it's marking a greaterness, then it's asr behesped as well. Otherwise, it's only asr betanis. What about the days before and after? Kol HaKosav v'Megillas Taanis. All those days listed in Megillas Taanis, the loy lemispad, during which you're not meant to make a hesped. That reflects a higher level of Yom Tov. The fun of asr, you can't even do the hesped before the day of, because it might get extended into or confused with the day of. La'achar mutar. However, after the day is over, there's no isser hesped. Rabbi Yossi, no, lefanavu la'achar asr, the day before and after is asr. You might get confused with the day of. However, the days which are the loy lisanobain, the days in Megillas Taanis where you meant to refrain just from Taanis, so it's not such a high level Yom Tov. So it's one step down. Lefanav la'achar mutar. You can fast the day before or after. Rabbi Yossi is more machmer, he takes it a step up. Lefanav asr, la'achar mutar, the day before and no, because it might lead into the day itself. But once the Yom Tov is over, la'acharav, you can fast. And Geisrin Taanis ala tzibur b'tchila b'chamish. When the Bezdin would establish fast days on account of a drought, etc., they wouldn't initiated on a Thursday. Why? Because Thursday night everybody's gonna make a mad rush, mad dash to the groceries, and the non-Jewish owners will be overwhelmed. What's going on? There's a food shortage in the world, and it's going to hike the prices because everybody's coming to break their fast and prepare for Shabbos. So don't start fast days on a Thursday. Ela sholosh Taanis harishonos. Rather, the first three were as follows: Sheni on Monday, v'chamishi on Thursday, v'sheni followed by a Monday. In this case, by the time Thursday comes around, they know, well, it's part of the fasting situation. Nothing to do with a worldwide food shortage. Regarding the second set of fast days, even though perhaps there's a break between the first and second set, there's no concern about starting on a Thursday because they already know, they're accustomed to the fact that we have fast days. Rabbi Yossi disagrees. Rabbi Yossi Omer, just like you agree that the first set of fast days don't start on a Thursday, likewise the second and third should not either. We start on a Thursday, we have that break in between the systems of fast days, and therefore the storms might forget, might not realize what's going on. Suddenly, mad dash to the food stores, it's going to hike the prices. If possible, Bezdin should not be sacking a system of fast days which will run into Rosh Chodesh Chanukah Purim. But let's say they started fasting for whatever sorrow they were experiencing, and they didn't anticipate the fast days interfering with the Yom Tov. It so happens that the tzara continued, and they had to add to the sequence of fast days, and it so happens that it led into Chanukah or Purim, Rosh Chodesh. Fine. Then we let it continue, even though it interferes with the Yom Tov. So l'chatchila we don't plan it, but b'di'evad we keep it. Divrei Rabbi Gamliel, Amar Rabbi Meir, Afal Bisha Amar Rabbi Gamliel, Im Afsikim. Rabbi Gamliel says we don't cut the Taanis, we don't cancel the Taanis in this case. However, Moida Hayesh Im Ashlim, and he agrees that during these Yom Tovim we fast, but we don't complete the fast day. We break it before nightfall in honor of the Yom Tov. V'chein Tisha B'Av, likewise on Tisha B'Av, Shechal is better of Shabbos. It falls on Erev Shabbos. We don't want to come to Shabbos all famished. It's not covered Shabbos, so we break it a bit before Shabbos. The Farshim point out, even though you're not being mashlim, but since the Kabbalah was in this manner, it was established to fast in this manner, a Taanis without Ashlam, it's considered a bona fide Taanis. Now, Mishnah started with the Seder Taniyas Keitzad, and started with the Teva. Moitzinas HaTeva, we take the Aron HaKodesh out in the street. The more figures. This is a broad description of all the Yemei Taanis. Vafilu b'kamai, said, you mean even on the first set of fast days? V'raminu, we have a brayso which says otherwise. That this concept of taking out the Teva is strictly limited to the last set of fast days. Shalosh Taanis Rishonos U'Shnios, the first and second sets. Nuchnosn Beis HaKnesses Mispalim. Kederach Shemispal and Kol Hashem Nekula. They go into shul and daven there. They don't transport anything to the street. B'Sheva Achroin is on the last and final phase of 7. Meitzinas HaTeva L'Rochev Shalir. They transport the Teva to the city. Ubenoisen Eifra Al Gabi Teva. They take some ashes and place it on the Teva, and they place it at B'Reish HaNosi, B'Reish HaBezdin. V'Kol Echad Ve'echad, likewise every individual takes some ashes, Noitil V'Noisen B'Reish, applies it to his head. Rabbi Nosson Omer Efer Miklaim Mevin. It has to be burnt ashes. Tanakam used the word Efer, which perhaps can mean any or any sand, any earth. Rabbi Nosson says Davka, burnt ashes. It's interesting that the Tosfos brings here V'oisa Efer have me'etzem Adam. It's burnt bones, human bones. Why? Shareyu Efer have his l'karon ha'keda v'keda yatzam. It's meant to be a reminder of Akedah Sitzak, which involved bones. And I saw others, I think the Maratz Chia says, where are you going to get human bones? It must be a mistake. And he says that the Girsa is Oisa Efer have me'etzem Ayil. Instead of Adam, it's Ayil, a ram. And that the true Zikaron for what happened by Kedei Sitzchak, where an Ayil was brought instead of Yitzchak. Okay, so you bring an Efer of burnt substance, and it's pretty clear this only happens during the last and final phase of fast days, not in the previous ones. Amar Papa, you're right. Kitnan nami masnisin ashav achronis tnan. Our Mishnah also was referring to the last 7, no more. When it got really serious, the last 7, that's when we get to these drastic measures of transporting the teva, etc. So we place some ashes on the teva, we place it b'rosh hanasi, and then every individual in the tzibur places it on his head. It says the Gemara b'rosh hanasi, baratani, then it says kol echad ve'echad noitel v'noisim b'rosh. So you start with the most important person, then you embarrass the layman. Eini, is that the way to do it? Atnan. Rabbi Yehuda Kessler, in matters of greatness and importance, we start with the most important person. We give him the covet. And then we slide down to the ordinary person. Ubiklala or ubikalkala, some agurs. In matters of curse, in matters of negativity, embarrassment. Matters of punishment. We start from the least important. And we make our way up. Out of deference to the Adam Gadol, out of covet to the most important person. How do we know? When it comes to matters of greatness, such as Moshe Rabbeinu giving over a mitzvah, a new mitzvah, we start from the most important person. Moshe El Aaron, he came first, and then Uli is summer, as opposed to Ubiklola Maschil Min HaKatan, who got cursed first, who got oinish first, way back when. The snake got his klola first, he has a slither on the ground, and then came V'achakach Niskalo Chava, V'achach, and then finally Niskal Adam. Now you can ask, well, of course the snake gets hit first. He was the one who brought about the whole chet. And Farshim said, things to Maharsha, he says no, because over there, Adam really was mostly responsible. He got the mitzvah. So he really should be held responsible and the first one to be affected. No, we find that the Nachash gets first. Out of deference, out of covet to Adam Rishon. So why when it comes to ashes, we apply first the Adam Gadol to the Nasi and then to the ordinary citizen? Answers the Gemara, out of respect to the Adam Gadol we do that. Why? It's actually an expression of chashivas to the leader. Look what we're telling him. The Amrilu, we tell him, Atun chashivisu, you the Nasi, Reishav Bezdin, you're so important in our eyes. Let me boil and rachmi, to daven to Hashem for Rachmanas Akulam on behalf of all of us. We want you to take it in your hands. It's in your control. You represent us. You be Alei Azan. You be the one that represents us to Hashem. So we start with you. We put the Ephra on you to give you tzar, to give you agmas nefesh, soften your heart, to enable you to daven for us. Continues the Gemara. So the Nasi and Abbezin were treated to ashes. Then v'chol echad ve'echad noitel v'noisim b'roishay, and then every individual would apply to his head personally. Nasi v'Abbezin nami. What about the leaders? There as well. Nishkelu inu. Let them take their own ashes. V'ninchu b'roshayim. Place it on their heads. Ma'ishno. Why is it that the shakal inish achrina, somebody else staff gets to take the ashes? Umarach lo apply to them. Amar b'amidim in Krisri. Einoi doime. You can't compare the level of shame when it's self-induced or imposed by somebody else. How could you compare creating your own busha, which isn't as personal, as severe, as degrading, than being embarrassed by somebody else? Says Rashi on top. When somebody else, especially just an ordinary person, goes up to the leader and places some ashes on his head, that's a true busha. Brings about agmas nefesh. The fact that they're so chashiv, that brings about a busha when the busha is imposed by somebody else. That's what we do to them. We want them to have agmas nefesh, to enable them to do proper tshuva on our behalf, tefillah on our behalf, and bring about the Yeshua. Says Rashi, but typically, the people who are not so chashiv, typically it doesn't matter. An ordinary person doesn't get embarrassed by somebody else placing ashes. There's no point. So you just apply it yourself. Says the Gemara, where exactly do they place these ashes? Where the tefillin is meant to be. Why? The Pasuk is describing Hashem being Menachem, the mourners of Tzion. He's going to substitute Losas Lahem Pe'er, which is referring to tefillah now, beauty, that will take the place of Tachas Ever instead of the ashes, which previously occupied the Makom of tefillah. So we see that's one or the other, and therefore we place the Efer on the Makom Pe'er and the Makom Tefillah. So what did we learn today? Pretty long Mishnah with a little Gemara. We started with the Seder Taanis, which the Gemara explained is specific to those 7 final fast days. We add the Efer on the Teva. We bring the Teva out into the street. We put the Efer on the Reish Bezin, on the Nasi, and we apply it to every person as well. We add all those brachas for a total of 24. We learned about the halacha of the Anshe Mishma, Anshe Beis Av regarding fasting and their ability to drink wine. Lechatchila, we try not to have a Taanis affect Chanukah, Purim, or Rosh Chodesh. We avoid starting the Taanis on the Thursday, and we try to get the leaders involved first. It's a chashivas. Look, you represent us. We need you to daven on our behalf. All the best and much, much haslacha.